Hey guys, how you doing? This is Juan with Liberty Graphic Designs, and in this video we're gonna learn how to make a screen from start to finish. So don't go anywhere, stay tuned. Okay, so the reason why I'm making this video is because I got a couple of questions on how to make a screen, or people saying that they're scared to make a screen. And it's very easy, don't be afraid, it's super easy. So I'm going to show you the way that I do it. You don't have to follow this way. There's many different ways of coating a screen and burning a screen. I'm just going to show you the way that I do it. So if you don't like my way, you don't have to do it the way that I do it, but let me show you real quick. I'm gonna be coating about 7 screens, and then I'm gonna set them aside to dry, and then we'll come back possibly tomorrow and burn the actual screen. But I'm gonna walk you step by step and the reason why I do certain things. Okay, this is I don't think I've ever shown this in the past, but I'm gonna show it in this video step by step how to create or how to coat your screen, get it ready to burn, and then how to burn it. Okay, so what you're gonna need to coat a screen is gonna be a scoop coater, and there's actually different types. Lately I've been using this one right here. There's no difference, it's the same thing. This one is just a little fancier, so I'm using this one. That's gonna be the first thing you're gonna need. Obviously you're gonna need the screens, and then we're gonna need some type of emulsion. Okay, so whichever emulsion you have, again, you don't have to do this step by step. I'm just showing you the way that I do my screens. The emulsion that we're going to be using is going to be this one right here. It's from Keywall. You see it right here at the bottom. Look at that right there. And it's called Polycol Multi-Text Red. Don't worry about the color, because they make it in red and blue. And again, the other thing you're going to need is going to be your screens, whatever screen you're using or whatever screen you have. This is going to be, I think this is a 156, yes, and you can see it right there. So 156. Just make sure that your screen is completely clean, that you degreased it, you cleaned it real good. That's going to be crucial for this to work the best that you can. Okay, so make sure that your screens are super clean. Okay, another thing I forgot to mention, another thing that you're gonna need, and you don't need this part, okay, but another thing you're gonna need for this video, you're gonna need a brush, and this is a 1-inch brush. You can get it at Harbor Freight, you can buy it at Home Depot, you can buy it at Lowe's or Walmart. You can tell I've been using this one for a while because it's all rusted already. And whatever emulsion that you didn't use from the last time, like for example, I'm gonna open this one so you can see. This, I usually call this leftover emulsion, and it's just a little bit of emulsion, and I would say it's enough emulsion for you not to be able to coat a screen, but you can still use it. So what I do is I keep the little bit of emulsion that I have left. This is actually a sample that Sadie sent me. This emulsion is very, very good. If you guys can see that, Sadie, right there, that emulsion is really good, especially for water-based. I think we're gonna make the switch over to this one from Keywall. So you'll see what this is gonna be for. I will be explaining step by step. You don't have to be using the same emulsion. You can use the emulsion that you currently have. Okay, so one thing I forgot to show you guys, the scoop coaters have a sharp side. This is a sharp, and then they have a dull side. This one's a little thicker than this one, right? So I'm going to be using the sharp. I'm not going to show you that one because it's already full of emulsion. I don't want to make a mess bigger than the one I already made. So we're going to be using the sharp side on the scoop coater. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get real close to the edge, and I'm going to coat it, and then I'm going to move real close to this edge, coat it. I'm going to flip it around. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to coat real close to the edge, coat it, real close to this edge, and coat it. That will be what is known as a 2 by 2. So that's going to be 2 on the front, 2 on the back. And I'm gonna come back in the front and I'm gonna take the excess off, and I will explain that why. So when you coat it, you leave a high deposit of emulsion, and a lot of people like that because they want to deposit a bunch of ink. Not me. I like to be very thin on my ink, like super thin coats. It lasts longer, it cures better. That's the reason why I do it. So okay, so before we start, remember that emulsion that I said that we had left over? You're gonna need that, and you're gonna need that, and you're gonna need a brush. So usually what I do with this emulsion, I put a little bit of water in there, maybe 20% water, to thin it down. And you can see how thin it is. We're gonna put that right there. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get real close to the opposite edge right now. Coat it, get on this side. Coat it, flip it around. Get right next to the frame. Get on this side. Coat it. So now we have a bunch of emulsion. Then I'm gonna come back in the front and just take off. I'm just gonna take off the excess. So now notice how we got that right there, where you're normally gonna have that open space right there and on the top. That's, again, I don't think I've ever shown this trick before, but that's where this brush comes in. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna cover all the way around the screen, just like that. So we're gonna cover that part on that side, and then we're gonna cover this other side. And if you have any gaps on top and bottom, go ahead and cover them. Now, you're probably gonna ask, why do you do that? It's not necessary. No, it is not. You're right, it's not necessary. But this step right here will not require any more tape. So whenever you expose your screen, you have everything already covered. You don't have to put tape or any of that stuff. Also, when you coat with a brush all the way around the screen, reclaiming is very easy. It's faster. So reclaiming is a lot faster because you don't need to remove any tape. Okay, so now when you go to store them, you want to store them upside down. That way all the emulsion falls to the bottom. Okay, so on this one I'm going to explain the reason why I do 4, 2 on the front, 2 on the back, and then take out the excess. You'll probably hear an echo because my voice is sounding off of the screen. But the reason why I do that is because you grab the emulsion, and the emulsion is going back and forth, back and forth. So you're pushing the emulsion that way, and then you're pushing it back this way, and then you take out the excess. What you're doing is actually you're moving the emulsion back and forth through the screen, that is actually coating the entire screen inside and out. And that way you don't get any pinholes. That's the reason why I do that. And I know there's going to be a lot of people, I know there might be some of you arguing that it's not necessary. And you're probably right, it's probably not necessary, but it works for me, so I like doing it that way. And then this little trick right here, you know, it saves so much time. Especially when you have to do tape. When you do this trick right here, when you do that trick with the brush, it saves so much. Not only time. Let me put this away because you're probably hearing an echo. Okay, so when you do this trick with the brush to cover the entire screen, what you're doing is you're actually eliminating the need for tape. So you're gonna save some money right there on the tape, because trust me, that emulsion is a lot cheaper than tape. Another thing, you're actually saving time by doing this, you're not going to put any tape. So the time to take the tape off, to put the tape on, and to take it off, it's a lot faster this way because you can go to reclaiming directly. The trick with the brush right here, you're actually saving time when it comes to reclaiming the screens. You're saving money because you don't need any tape. And you'll probably say, well, you know what, we had tons of tape. Trust me, this small amount of emulsion, it's a lot cheaper than the tape that you buy. And when you go to reclaiming, when you go to reclaim this screen, you don't have any tape to take off. You just put it in your dip tank, remove the ink, do whatever you have to do, and the screen is ready to go. So that's the good thing about putting the emulsion rather than using tape. Just to recap, we do 2 on the front coatings, we do 2 on the front, 2 on the back, and then we come back to the front and take off the excess. That's to minimize on the pinholes. And then we cover the entire screen with the brush. That way we don't have to use any tape, and we can go directly from burning the screen to drying the screen directly to the actual press, rather than having it go to another station where you have to put tape. You know, we eliminate that state or that station. We eliminate the station, or we eliminated the tape by doing this. Another thing we eliminated by doing this, when we go to reclaim, you don't have to take off all this. You don't have to take off all this nasty tape. So you're eliminating this step, you know, where you got to take all this nasty tape, and if you're using the blue one, it's almost impossible to get it out. This way you go directly to reclaiming the screen. Okay, so that's it for coating the screens. We already got the screens coated. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a fan on them, make sure that they dry good, and tomorrow we'll come back and we're actually gonna do the actual burning of the screen. Okay, so yesterday we coated the screens and we put them out to dry. Today we're gonna do the actual burning of the screen, or creating the stencil, because that's actually what it is. The screen is an actual stencil. So the first thing you're gonna need for the quote-unquote stencil is going to be your, what we call positive. Some people call them negative because of what you see, you know, it looks like a negative, but they're actually called positives. So once you get your positive, you want to have on your positives, you want to have registration marks, and you can have whatever registration mark you want. You can create it yourself, you can make your own, whichever one. It don't have to be this little target looking thing or crosshairs. It don't have to be that. It can be a triangle, it can be just a square, whatever you want it to be, that's what it's going to be. The next thing is going to be your artwork. In this case we're using Liberty Graphic Designs logo. That's what we're going to be doing. And then another thing that you're going to need, the most important thing is going to be your screen, right? One of the things that you're going to be looking into is what kind of ink you're working with, and what kind of finish you want on your shirts. In this case we're going to be using a 156, and I usually mark my screens like before I coat them, before I wash them. I mark my screens like so, and I put a piece of tape. That way when I wash them, the number that's in the race, and I know what screen I got. Sometimes some of the screens, when you get them, they'll have the mesh count written on the actual screen, but sometimes they don't have them. So that's why I write it down on the actual frame itself and put a piece of tape so it doesn't destroy it. So one very important point, okay, that I wanna show you guys. As you can see, I'm working in the light. The screen is in the actual light, like your house light, your shop light, whatever light you have. You can actually work on this with the screen on the actual light. Don't take it out in the sun though, and the sun will almost immediately expose the screen. Why am I saying this? Is because there's a lot of people that use dark rooms, and I'm not saying you don't have to use a dark room. You can. It's the best way would be to use a dark room, and that's when you have a yellow light or a red light, whatever light you have that is safe, so it won't expose your screens. As you can see, screen is in the light. You will not ruin the screen by having the lights on. I actually made a video. I never posted the video, but it actually takes 3 to 5 hours to ruin a screen in the light like this. So with that being said, you can do it directly in the light. Don't be scared, you will not ruin the screen. When you do store the screens though, they do have to be in the dark where there's no light. This is when you're storing them, that way you don't mess them up. So okay, so now we need to put our positive to the screen, and usually what you want is on your screen is gonna have to be facing backwards once you put it on the screen. So when you burn it, the image will be on there backwards. When you look at it from the back side of it, it'll read right. So what you can do, you see these lines right here? So do you see these lines? There's one there, and there's gonna be one on the opposite side, and then you see one on the center. So usually once you get your negative or positive, it's actually called positive, but a lot of people call it negatives. So once you get your positives and you got your registration lines, so what you want to do is you need a T-square. That way you can align your screen and your positive with the registration marks. That way it'll end up straight, so you don't have your artwork all crooked on the screen. So you need a T-square. That's what you need the T-square for, so you can align everything. So the best way to do the screen is to use an actual registration template. And on the registration template, you don't need a T-square because you're gonna place your artwork on the actual registration template and then transfer that over to your screen, and everything will be square. It'll save you a lot of time where you don't have to use that T-square. However, I am gonna show you how to use this T-square. So with that being said, let's use a T-square, and then we're gonna use the registration template, okay? So this is how you're gonna put your artwork on your screen. So you make sure you flip it upside down and your screen is facing up. So for this step, you're gonna need some tape to adhere your artwork to the actual screen. And this is where the T-square comes in. And then you align those registration marks to the screen. That way they're straight, kind of like that. Once the screen is straight, once the artwork is straight, then you put a piece of tape. I don't know if you can see it. You can hardly see it because it's actually clear. And then you will tape it down to the actual screen, and then from this step you just take it over to your exposure unit. That's using the T-square. If you do have a registration template, so what you want to do, you put a piece of tape on all 4 corners of the artwork or the positive. So make sure you're applying the tape to the back side of your positive. Then we're gonna get the screen out of the way. So then or on your actual registration template, your positive or your artwork is gonna have to be facing upright. Just align it where it's supposed to go, and then grab your screen, and the registration template has a stop right here. Just put your screen on the stop, bring it down, and then just run your hands over the tape, and it'll be adhered to your actual screen. And then from this point, what we're gonna do is bring it over to the exposure unit. Okay, so here we are at this exposure unit. Let's turn it on. And I always have a piece of foam. Let me open this up. We're gonna put our screen on the exposure unit. Take a piece of foam and just put it on the, make sure it lands on top of the actual artwork. Put your rope over. Okay, so we're gonna put our screen down on your exposure unit, and then we're gonna add a piece of foam. What this is gonna help is gonna assure, if you notice the screen sometimes they're warped, especially if you use wood, they're gonna warp. So as you can see, this one is not flat, completely flat. So what the foam is gonna do is gonna assure, what the foam is gonna do is gonna push the screen down evenly so you get a nice stencil. And we're gonna throw a rope over it. If you don't have a exposure unit like this, don't worry. You can use some weights to hold the screen down. Just make sure you put a piece of foam and you'll get better results. So let's turn the vacuum on. Okay, turn off the exposure unit. Let's grab our screen. Okay, so at this point, we're just gonna take the positive out. Make a lot of noise. And now let's go to the washout booth. Okay, so now we're at the washout booth, right? And one thing I wanna point out is that this entire time, I've been doing the screen in the light. Everything has been in the light. I have not used a safety light like a yellow light or a red light. Everything is in the light, and you can tell because it's the same screen because it's got those little spots right there where I dropped some water on it. So anyways, so what you want to do is you want to spray water in the front of the screen and in the back of the screen. So just so you know, we call this the print side, and the back side of the screen we call that the squeegee side, or ink, or whatever you want to call it. So this is going to get very loud. You're more than likely going to see an actual time lapse because it gets really loud. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray the water in the front and then in the back. And you'll see how the image is starting to appear. Also, some people is going to tell you not to spray the back of the screen or the squeegee side. What? If you go back and forth, you'll get better results like that. Just don't use a lot of pressure in the back of the screen. So I'm using a 156, right? If you have very small details, you want to go up. Like for example, this one would have worked better on a 195 or a 230. 200 would have been perfect. Well, 195 would have been perfect. I'm using a 156 and I have very, very small details on it. And I'll show you as soon as I'm done. And that's it. The screen is completely done. I will show you a little close up. Just got water everywhere. So there's a very small line. Hopefully you can see that line. It's a very, very small line. There's actually two lines right there, and the top one is very small. The next step that I do is I dry my screen with a microfiber towel. Now be careful in this step, okay? Because if your screen is not exposed correctly, you're gonna ruin the screen. You're gonna mess it up really bad by using a microfiber or any type of drying towel to do this. You're gonna mess it up. But if your screen is exposed correctly, you won't have a problem. Now you're gonna ask yourself, why do you do that? Well, if I dry the excess water, it'll dry faster, right? Duh. But the reason why I do this is because I'm in Texas. I'm in Waco, Texas. We have, I think, I'm not for sure, but I think we have hard water. And whenever you have hard water, it'll dry on your actual stencil and it'll block the stencil out. It'll almost crystallize. So the reason why I do this is to prevent that. And then I hold the screen up to the light. I hold it up to the light to make sure that I don't see any water in the screen. So that's it. I mean, the screen is done. And again, guys, let me point it out. Everything was done in the light. There was no safety lights. As a matter of fact, I have a light on the actual camera that is pointing directly at the screen. It's to point on my face, right? But it's pointing directly at the screen. And as you can see, look, let me see if I can get a close-up so you guys can see that it didn't ruin anything. So you can see every detail in there. And then all you do now is just put it on the rack. Just put it on the rack to dry. If you have a fan, put a fan in front of it so you can dry it faster. If you're gonna be working with water base, I suggest that you put the screen back in the exposure unit to post-expose it to make it a lot better, or a way better screen. It'll last a lot longer. If the sun is out and it's nice and bright, just throw the screen back outside, let it dry on the actual sun, and the UV light from the sun will post-expose and harden the emulsion, making it water, you know, for water based, making it perfect for water based. So that's it, guys. That's it for this video. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and ding the bell so you're notified when I upload new videos. If you have any questions about the process that I did on this video, just put a comment below. Let me know any questions. If you have a better way to expose the screens, or you use a different method that works really good for you, by all means use that method. Don't try mine if you don't like it, or you're gonna find your own way, right? But if you have a better way to expose the screens than me, go ahead and post it below, because we all like to learn. So again, thank you guys. If I forgot something, let me know. And if you have any questions, again, let me know. It was a pleasure making this video. I will see you on the next one. Thank you guys. God bless you. And we'll catch you on the next one. Goodbye now.